Hey, y'all. Thank y'all so very much for joining us today. We are going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4 of The Wheel of Time, season 3. Episode 3 is aptly shadowed Seeds of Shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit and then ask a question, and then our conversation is going to go from there. Ready?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
This one is quick. In episode 3, Prince Gabriel meets with Lanfear and Samael. First, how shocked were you to learn Gabriel was a Forsaken?
I didn't even know who he was, to be honest with you. I was like, who is this character? I don't even remember him.
So this is Elaine's mother's husband.
Yeah. Which we
Okay.
just met this season. Like he was only in like maybe one or two other scenes prior to this. And that's when they introduced him. So I assumed he was going to be one of the few good characters in the show because it seems like everybody is a dark friend, right?
Yeah.
So I assumed incorrectly that he was going to be a good character. So my mouth was like, what?
So Corey, do you remember last show? I was like, there's like this one little small part, and so
Yes.
when you saw that, you were like, okay, all right.
That's what you were talking about. That's what you were
Yes.
talking about. And so my first thought was, damn, we another one, somebody else that they're fighting against that's beyond the shadow. And the title of this episode is so poignant and relevant because it does show how increasingly how much the dark has kind of infiltrated the world and everyone, right? And it's just another instance of they have that work cut out for them because there's fewer and fewer people that are really siding with the light, so to speak. And he is just another one. He's steps away from having control of a kingdom, right? Because he has influence over his wife, obviously.
Mm-hmm. So Brittany, real quick, and the only reason I'm going to you is because I wanted to hear more from you. What were your thoughts? No, that's okay. What were your thoughts about Lanfear in that particular scene?
I thought Lanfear came off like a boss. She was like, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and you need to listen to me, and this is why we going to take this spider web bitch out. And I was like, well, damn. And then I was freaked out because she was hanging behind the little pillars and just kind of slid her way out. And I was just like, I can't stand, I don't like her character. I do not like her hair, her outfit, everything about her is just sneaky. It's giving me and Harry Slytherin. It's giving me Slytherin vibes. I don't like her.
Okay. Well, since you brought it up, Mogadine says that Lanfear is playing the same game. What game do you think Lanfear is playing? Let me go to Corey first.
So I think the game that she's referring to is really, it's a trap, or not so much a trap, but it's a pattern that she finds herself in with Rand. And so she is you can kind of see it in I think it was the next episode where it kind of really goes into their past lives with her and Moraine and stuff. All of them are following the same kind of similar path as before with minor variations. And it seems in each one of those paths, Lanfear has always been trying to seduce Rand, trying to do, concerned or overly concerned about Rand. And I think ultimately in this turn of the wheel, I think that could be her downfall because, she's overly concerned with him, right? And I think that her eye is not on the prize, quote unquote, of the dark winning.
No, she trying to take him out, take old girl out.
Yeah, she worried about Moraine. She's too overly concerned with other aspects of it. And if I was a dark friend, I'd be like, why are you so, yeah, you could do that, but hey, eyes on the prize. This is what ultimately we're trying to do.
Yeah, she fixated on the wrong thing. Didn't one of the guys say, what would the Dark Lord say?
Yeah. So then my question to you is a question that I think I asked last week. Do we think that Lanfear is on Rand's side, or do we think that Lanfear is on the side of the dark?
I think she's on Rand's side and playing devil's advocate.
I think I agree with you. I think that she is totally. I think she's a great character, a morally
Yeah.
great character. I think that she will do whatever needs to be done to fulfill what the best outcome for her. Right. So she was in love with the last incarnations, plural, of Rand. And so I think ultimately she's trying to get back to that love story, quote unquote, right? And I think that she
Mm.
will sacrifice the dark. I think she would sacrifice the light just to get that outcome. So I don't think she's for either. I think she's for herself, which is, I think, what I said last week, too. But I think they could use that potentially, right? So maybe she's not all the way, dark, but mm, I don't
Brittany?
know.
I agree with Corey. I think she's out for self. I think she's dark because she's out for herself. She's not out for the betterment of mankind and the
Correct.
creatures and all that other stuff. I think she's out for self. And being out for self, everything is self centered. So she gets pleasure from trying to be manipulative and take these different characters out. But then her ultimate end game is she want Rand by her side. So she
Right.
wants both. She want to be dark and she want her man. And she's like,
Oh,
my man, my man. I'm gonna do everything I can to get him.
say that again, my man, my
My
man.
man, my
My man.
All right, so speaking of the dark, two of the Black Ajas have been captured, and Elaine and Nynaeve have been asked to question them. They asked to have them separated when they are questioned. The gray/black Aja says she believes Nynaeve to be a killer. Question: is Nynaeve a killer, and under what conditions will she kill? Let's go with Brittany first.
yes, I think she's a killer. And she's just a bad bitch all around. But I think she's a killer. Like everything about her is for her family and her friends. And so if she loves you, she'll do anything for you. She's a ride or die.
Corey?
I think that she's a killer, but I think that to get to that point, I mean, it has to be, ultimately, I think it has, because she's also a wisdom, right? So
Oh,
ultimately, I think it really needs to make sense in the grand scheme of what's going on. So if it's to save her life of her friends, if it's the only option, if she can't incapacitate them, et cetera, I think there's all these conditions that need to be met in order for her to kill. I don't think she's just going to willy nilly kill someone. Or we haven't reached a point in the story where she's just at her last straw and it's, that's the only thing that she's going to be able to do. I do think that something is going to have to break her so that she can really truly begin to learn and control her gift and her power. And I'm not sure if it's going to be some great loss or it's going to be something that's going to kind of break that for her. And that may be the instance where she may have to kill, or something affects her to the point where she ultimately does kind of break through and begin to really own her power.
mm,
Oh, okay. So let's move. So Alida. So remember, Alida is now in the tower. She's a red sister. She's the one with the dark with the raspy voice. All right.
Love her.
So Alida's hand is shaking, and she calls in Alice, but Min appears and offers to help Alida. In the next scene, Elaine and Nynaeve are trying to determine their next move. Uh, Shoot, I can't read my own handwriting. The next move, as they walk through the city, they both agree to focus on Leandrin. They arrive in the room Leandrin's son was kept. Next, Alida attempts to speak with the Amelin, but is stopped. Alida says, "Cross me now, and I will never forget it." The two, the seeker, Liana, advises her to return with a sitter requesting an audience with the Amelin, and she will try to get her in. Alida goes to the Reds, bringing gifts. One Red did not want the gift, saying it was too gaudy for her. Instead, she
oh,
asks Alida what she was hoping to buy with the gifts. Elida says she wants Reg running the tower. Elida wants to call for a vote to overthrow the Amelin, find Rand, and cage him. But the High Sitter tells her to leave. Question. This is a little different from the book, so I'm taking it on face value. What were your impressions of these two scenes regarding Elida and the Reds?
Ooh.
So I want to say that I think Elida, and she is exactly the character that I anticipated when I saw that she was going to be joining the show as an actress, the actress that plays her. Um, and what I think is ultimately, as we knew probably when they introduced her, kind of gave us a little backstory of her. We knew that she was going to try to take over the Amelin seat from Swan, right? Because she almost had it last time, and she's a Red Aja, which we do not trust at this point in the story. So I think she's doing exactly what I anticipate or what I expected her to be, right? She's not an antagonist in a general sense. She's not a dark friend, but she's also not necessarily going the way of the protagonist in the story. So I think that, she's doing what she's supposed to. She's a foil, so to speak. But I ultimately think that something again is going to happen to where everyone will kind of align against the dark if she is not a dark friend, which I don't think she is. I don't think she is.
Brittany? Oh, sorry.
I don't. I'm not sure. I don't think she is because I think that would be too easy, right? I think it'd be too easy to make her a dark friend just because she is opposing Suan. And I've read the books, and is she a character from the books, or is it something that they just did for the show?
She's a character from the books.
Okay.
Brittany, your thoughts? Elida, what are your thoughts about her?
I like her overall because I've always liked her character. Every time anything she plays in, she is
Mhm.
always so good. Like she plays similar characters in everything that she plays. She's
Yes.
always that boss, and she's gonna take charge. And she's most of the time she is the one that's in control, which is interesting to see that she's trying to be in control. So I think she's
Right.
actually going to end up being in control in some type of leadership role at some point, because that's what her character always does. Her character is sleuthy and conniving and manipulative, and it's just she's always playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. So I love her character. I just want to see, why was her hand shaking? I'm curious about that. Is it
Yeah.
something that she has going on, like medical wise, or is it something like evil, like magical going on? Like, what's going on? Because the way it was like, you remember that movie where the hand was attacking everybody with the white guys? That's what
No, I don't remember that
you
movie.
never
I
saw
remember that it was like in the '90s or whatever, and it
that. I forgot the name
such
of
an
it.
obscure reference, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking
And that
about.
hand came out of nowhere and was just like, and I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? She was dead. Like, I was so nervous for her. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how her character develops throughout the series.
Okay, so moving on to another scene. So Lan asks the Aiel how they knew that their group was coming. We learn it was because of the wise ones. Egwene tells Rand she saw one of the wise ones in her dream. The wise one responds by telling Egwene she was, in fact, in the wise one's dream.
Mhm.
First, who do you believe the wise ones are? When you first saw this, who do you believe the wise ones were? Let's go with Brittany.
I don't know. I think they're like this. How you say it, Saeed?
Aes Sedai.
Aes Sedai. I think they're the Aes Sedai for the Aiels. Is it Aiels? How do you say it?
Aiel.
Aiel. I think they're that group for them. That's what they call them, the wise ones. That's what
Okay.
I thought, at least.
Okay. Core.
That's kind of similar to what I thought. So I have been kind of trying to read up on the world of of the story, the background and stuff. Um, and from what I read, I was just kind of curious: were there other Aes Sedai type characters or other people that used magic that were Aes Sedai, but not were Suan's Aes Sedai? And I that's kind of what I think as well. I think they're another type of people that has some sort of magical ability that may not be just that they might be directly connected to the Emerald Sea.
So if you remember the Sanshin from last season, the Sanshin, you put a bracelet on one and you put a collar
Yeah.
on them. So they are just like the Aes Sedai, just like the Aes Sedai.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing different about them. Now the wise ones are people who have the same powers as the Aes Sedai. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing that makes the wise ones a little different from the Aes Sedai, from as you call it, Suans, is that a lot of them are seers and they walk through dreams. They
Mm-hmm.
experience things in people's dreams and they learn what's happening everywhere.
Wow, that's dope.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
don't know if I'd want that power though. People have weird dreams and thoughts.
They can move in and out of people's dreams.
Oh, okay. So you can pop in and be like, "Oh no," and pop out. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like.
You could actually die in your
Yeah.
dream.
Oh
Yeah.
no, she
Mhm.
did
What's
say
also
that.
cool too about this group is that they are actually fighters too. Like the Aes Sedai are fighters as well, but they, as opposed to using magic as a force, fire, water, wind, whatever, they use magic in more of a empathic way, and they use their fighting skills, like combat skills, as their offensive weapon, which is interesting because it's different. It's different.
Hmm.
Okay, so they come to a place where the people who follow the way of the leaf had been recently killed. They learned the Shido killed them, which hastens their need to move faster. Perrin buries his wedding ring on the grounds of where his wife was buried. Alana arrives explaining the ash on her face is for the grief of her warder. She explains that without Ivan gone, an important part of her throuple is gone for good. Question.
Hmm.
I have two questions. How has Perrin's grief changed him, if at all? How has Perrin's grief changed him, if at all?
So I think Perrin has a bit of a righteous anger now that I don't know if he had earlier on in the first season, or the second season. I think it was just grief. I think it was sorrow that has turned into more of a righteous anger. And we see him starting to step up into leadership and starting to kind of take control of situations, as we see later on in this episode. Um, and I think that that's the first step to wherever he's going to be eventually. I think I have an idea what's going to happen, but we'll see.
All right, next question. This one is going to Brittany. How do we predict Alana and Maxim's grief will change them? So Alana is the green Aes Sedai who
Hmm.
has the white man as a warder.
Mm, is that the one whose husband, like the thruple, the one whose husband died?
Yeah.
She's cold. Like she's done the thing where she's like broken off their bond or something. And they isn't that what she did? She broke their bond so that she doesn't feel his grief as much.
No, actually, she keeps the bond. In fact, he asks in the episode for her to break it because it was hurting him so much that she, to use your words, was so cold. It was like she wasn't allowing him to feel her grief.
Oh, she blocked it.
Yeah, it wasn't the bond that she blocked. It was just her emotions about him.
Hmm.
Okay, got it. So that part confused me a little bit because I was trying to understand why she didn't want him to feel what she was feeling because they were a couple. Like they all were intermingling together. It was messy, beautiful, whatever. It was all this, but it was cohesive. But for some reason, I see them separating, and I think they're gonna end up breaking up because he's so hurt by it. He wants to see her actually see her go through her grief, and she's not allowing him to go. He wants to go through it together, and basically, she's not allowing him to do that with her. She's isolated herself from him.
Mhm.
And I think that's a problem that he has because he's like, what's going on? We were all together.
Hmm. I think what was so dynamic about that entire relationship, and Brittany, I think you encapsulated like all the different dynamics together. I think what was so great about it, well, it is the fact that what she was saying was her grief is great. She knows his grief, meaning Maxim's grief, is great. If the two of them, if both of them had, so much, it was like, and they're feeling each other's grief, they know each other's grief, they might implode in on the grief. And that would stop them from doing all the other things that she knows they have to do. Remember, she's a green Aja, and she was made for battle. She was made for this moment in time. So that's her reality.
Got it.
Do you guys think that they will get another third? Do you think it's going to be one of our group, someone within our group that'll be their third? Will they
That's a
get
good
another third?
question. I don't think
Interesting.
so. I think they need time this season. I don't think this season they gonna get one unless she opens herself up. But right now, I think they're more focused on battle. Like she seems like she's ready to go to war. She's in battle mode. She ain't in fucking mode.
So I mean, but okay, that's true. That is true. Um, that is true. And but then let's think about this too, though. It's also fresh, right? It
Yeah, it
just
just
recently
happened a couple of
happened.
days ago.
Yeah, like it just happened. So in the scheme of the show, by the end of the season, 6 months could have passed or whatever, and maybe they're in a different place. But do y'all think there's going to be somebody else that's going to
I think it's a
step?
possibility because she wild. She's very fluid and free.
Is there a throuple in the book too?
Yes, most definitely. Hmm.
This is the
Are
first
they?
time I've seen an Indian woman be sexual like this on TV. I love it. I've never seen this before. I've always seen white people doing it. I've never seen
And
an
she's doing a
Indian
good
woman.
job at it too.
She
Yes,
is. She is. I like that aspect of the show. I hope it does continue in some
She
aspect.
making me
I
rethink
honestly
some
feel like we
things.
didn't get enough of it, to be honest with you.
yeah, they played it down a lot.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. All right. So back in Emmonsfield, basically the White Cloaks arrive. They're in Perrin's hometown. They have captured Matt's
Matt's
family.
family.
Hmm. And Perrin feels some kind of way about that, right? Um, so I'm going to skip through. So back in the White Tower, Min shows up in Matt's room, telling him she almost got rid of her visions, but thought that helping him was more important. Also, in the tower are Elaine and Nynaeve trying to understand the chalk that was drawn under the bed. Um, they learn they must go to Tanchico because that is where they'll find Leandrin trying basically to get her son's soul completion. So I have a quick question. Can men be trusted?
I don't think so. I think she's still working for other forces, the dark
Why do you say
forces.
that?
I don't trust her. Something about her just seems very self-centered, and at the end of the day she's conflicted. Like she really want to help Matt. I think she low-key crushing on him, but she also don't want to have these visions anymore.
Corey?
So I think I get what you're saying, and I think part of that could be the way that we met men, and we're a little sour on her because of what she did,
I
Matt,
am.
right? And she didn't have to do our boy like that, right?
Mm-mm.
But and I don't know if her apology was sufficient enough for what she actually did, because he could have actually died. He could have been killed, and I don't know if the apology that she gave is enough. So I totally get why you don't trust men, and I kind of look at us side eye too. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right, so Nynaeve and Elaine, they also remember the objects the Black Aja stole from the tower. They notice a drawing of the bracelet the Sanshin used to control channelers. Just then, a gray man nearly kills them. Elaine responds by making a knife attack him, and it kills him. Varen arrives, but Nynaeve is suspicious. Varen tells them to stay in their rooms until she or the Amerlin comes to find them. They resolve to go to Tanchinko. Question: can Elaine and Nynaeve trust Varen Sadai?
They don't know because she didn't ask who stabbed him.
Right.
Was that important?
I didn't think it was until she said
I didn't
it.
think it was until they said it, and I trusted
Yeah.
her up until they said that. But now it's like I'm like, well, I mean,
I don't know if I trust her now because
do we
she's
trust
secretive.
anybody in the White Tower? I would be really upset though if she turned out to be a dark friend too. Because I mean, damn, can we
They
get
killed his
somebody
sister.
that's? Can we get one person that is not
Everybody
afraid of
dark.
has not turned that is not turned dark?
So,
You know?
believe it or not, I told y'all last season. I don't know if either one of you were on, but Varen is a dark friend. Now, she's a dark friend who isn't playing for the dark. So remember, if they come to you and they ask you to be, you have no
You have
choice,
to say yes.
or you will die. So it's kind of like she's a double agent. She's a double agent. Okay,
Mhm.
so she understands what's happening over here, and she also understands what's happening over here. But her ultimate allegiance is to the White Tower.
Because she had no choice at the time, right? So I want, and does
Correct.
Thuan know that? I wonder, does she know that? I imagine that
No,
she does not.
no. Only if you read the books do you know.
Okay.
No one knows. Only if you read the books do you know.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So
So
Leandrin,
I got a question then.
what you got?
Of the people that we've met so far, are more dark friends than those that are on the side of the light?
No, more people on the light.
It doesn't feel that way.
Don't feel like that.
It does not
It
feel
feels
that
like
way.
I'm in a movie, and it's like David and Goliath.
Right. Like the more the story goes, it's like, man, it's gonna be those five against a whole army of people, and they may get a couple people here and there that's gonna help them. It's like some Harry Potter shit, or
Yeah.
more accurately, it's Lord of the Rings, where it was just that small
Lord
group,
of the Rings.
and at
Exactly.
the end, they got a few armies to help them. If they didn't have those armies, they was gonna die. So
So most of the people that they end up meeting, most, not all, but most of the people that they end up meeting, they end up killing. And so, yeah, like if you like really go back even to season 1, season 2, the people who are dark friends, they end up killing them some kind of way. Some kind of way, they die. Even some of the people, even some of the main characters that we've talked about today, I happen to know that they will die. But I ain't telling you who. All right, so
But are
Leandrin
they
shows up.
really? I got a question. But
What you
are they
got?
really dead? Like Lanfear, the Spider Lady, Matt? Are they really dead? Or are they in like a limbo?
When they died this time, they
They
died.
did. Okay, got it.
Okay. All right. So Leandrin shows up in Tanchinko and breaks up a wedding. So y'all
Oh,
remember
she
that?
came in. Let me talk about it. She came in. She had on the red mask. Okay, she had on a red veil, red down to the flow, blood red. She was not playing. Nails done, hair done, everything done. And she said, Landfolt, Lufolt, what is your name, son? And he said, Lufolt. And then she said, Lufolt. And then she took that mask off and looked at him and was like, you must be my my husband's great grandson. And then started killing bitches. I said, whoa, whoa. It was like the red wedding in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It was so good. She walked in
she
like
was
a
playing
boss.
bitches left and right.
She was like, yes. She looked at them and nodded. She didn't even have to say nothing. She just nodded at him. She is the Beyonce of the group, okay?
So listen, her character is one that gives me fits because I really feel like that I love to hate her, but man, I wish she was on the side of the light, but just was a little, was someone that's on the light was just a touch more dark than you would think somebody on the light could be. But yeah.
This show's about to win so many awards. This show is so good. That is my favorite part so far.
There's a little story about about Leandrin, but I'm not going to tell you.
Oh.
Okay. And read her name, Kara Sadai. Okay, so you into
it. She into it.
All right.
She's not playing. She's not playing with nobody. It's
she shut it down. She was like, "Oh,
she's one of those characters that you love to hate, but if you were rooting for the light, you wish she was on your side.
It's the attitude for me.
It is. Like, it's attitude.
My husband didn't do this for me on our wedding day. This is what y'all have on your wedding day?
So that gets me back to the question that I was going to ask. But okay, so what was it that we learned about Leandrin in this scene?
That her husband was an awful, evil man.
Yeah.
Awful.
And does that help you to understand Leandrin's character?
And she was a child. She was in the basement till she was 13 years old.
Yeah. So when I did learn that, it did soften me towards her, and that's why I was like, I get it. I get why she feels the way that she feels, and when the dark came to her, she was like,
"Yeah, why not?
Why not?"
Now, let me tell you something about Leandrin. Leandrin always wanted to be an Aes Sedai, but she also wanted to be a Black Aja.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to be both. When she grew up, she wanted to be both. All right. So Min shows up in Elida's suite. Elida lets her know Min has been spying on her. She also knows Min has visions. They have similar abilities of seeing. Elida asks Min not to report that the Red Aja will call a vote in the Hall of the Sitters, proclaiming Suwan Sanche will lose, and Reds will be in control of the tower. She wants to find and cage Rand. All right, next scene. The wise ones tell Egwene she is a dream walker, which is very rare for an Aes Sedai. Egwene admits to seeing the Sanchan who hurt her, and she gets bruises from her when she wakes. The wise one tells her the woman is still alive, and she will also teach Egwene how to protect herself. In his own dream, Rand talks to Lanfear, who seems dejected, but tells him he brought her there. She thinks she can escape her dark oaths if the Dark One is destroyed. She tells him there is a sangreal he could use along with another weapon used jointly. They could kill the Dark One. So she's talking about his sword. Question. Actually, I have two. So we're starting to see the power of dreams. We also learned that both Egwene and Rand have this power. What are the implications of this power or gift?
What do you mean?
So by having this power, how can that change the story?
That's a good point. It makes me. I'm curious. I need to go back and start reading the books because I'm sure that Karis, answering your question. I do think all the villains are very complex, which is very unique for this type of story in a way, right? Because a lot of times in fantasy stories, you have good, you have evil. There's not a lot of gray, as in terms of the villains' justification for why they are what they are. This is a little bit different, right? Yeah.
So, Brittany, there was something that you were saying. What did you say? I couldn't hear it.
It's complicated. Like, I don't know, like, what the implications can be from having the ability to be in each other's dreams. Because all I be thinking about is Lanfear's outfits. I get excited when she I be like, what's she about to wear? You remember the all black outfit where she
with the little horn thing? Yeah.
Very Lady Gaga. I loved it. I loved every part of it. So I don't know, y'all. I wasn't focusing on that. I just love her outfits.
Okay. All right. So
what I will say is that I think that it makes it extremely hard, and it's almost like a balancing act that they're going to be playing because you can have one viewpoint, right, Christopher? You can have one view, you can have one idea or thought, like in terms of a character, right? And then they go into the dreams, and then they see the reality is something completely different. Like it's almost like you get a glimpse into who they really are or their motivations. And with someone like a Lanfear who can kind of feed on that, that makes it extremely, extremely, extremely dangerous. Also, I think she's just a petty Betty going
Mm.
after a girl because her and Rand have a thing, and that's the only reason why she's doing it is because she's trying to break her because of she views her as competition.
Can Rand trust or believe Lanfear?
Uh,
Nah, she digmatized. She'll do anything for it.
yeah, it's
Mm.
more about her winning him and wanting to recapture that. I don't know if he can really trust her so
She's very
much
manipulative.
as right. Sh he can trust her to the point where she's not going to do anything to get him killed because she
Yeah.
wants him with her. But outside of that, she just wants him.
I
Whether
feel
he
like
on the
she'll put
dark
him in
side or whether he on
the
the light, she just wants him.
mask. Hmm.
So Karis Sadai says yes and no. Karis, I'm interested in your thoughts on that. In the meantime, let's move. So Moraine and Lan are in a sweat tent. By the way, sexy, sexy, sexy. I was here for it. When Moraine asks about Rudion, later Lan gives her permission to be with the woman, but Lan sees her tattoo and follows her. He learns she is from his homeland. She reminds him of his birthright. Question: it seems their paths keep diverting. I'm talking about the main characters. Should Lan remain loyal to Moraine and the White Tower, or should he embark on his own mission to restore his kingdom?
Can he do both?
I think he could do both.
I think he can do both. I think it's only going to take like maybe a month or two to get this stuff straight with the White House. And then after that, he can go help his people. Because it's time. He been with Moraine for a long time. The bitch old. It's time to go worry about himself.
He
She old and he ain't getting none.
He ain't getting none.
No.
What'd you say, Corey?
No. So, but listen. So here's the thing. Like, I ultimately, I don't think the White Tower is almost as bad as the Dark Friends. In the
Expound.
in the fact that they will do whatever in order to ensure that their point of view is the only point of view, or that they win as well, which is the exact same thing that the dark side is willing to do, except the White Tower believes that they're on the side of right. So there's not that much difference between the two because both are willing to do whatever in order to ensure that whatever happens.
Now,
Although we
who?
know that Suan and Moraine have this little side thing going on to where that they're trying to protect Rand, you know which
Hmm.
which the others want to cage him or whatever, which is the source of the conflict between Suan and old girl that just showed up. But I mean, I it's so
Brittany?
complicated. It's so complicated
What
and
about the
complex.
white cloaks? Whose side are they on?
Ne-
Them,
neither. Neither. So they don't like anyone with power at all.
right?
Doesn't matter. And they believe that anybody with power is evil. Those are their
Hmm.
beliefs.
They're my
So they
least
MAGA
favorite.
supporters.
Oh,
So
that's so funny. That's so funny. She actually said that before you did.
so listen, that could be the reason why this is the part of the story that I hate the most is the white cloak piece of it. I cannot stand it because I maybe ultimately it's because I feel it's closely, similar to what we, see now. I don't know.
Oh,
Christopher, hold on. Plus, he got a more powerful Aes Sedai wearing his mother's ring. He's talking about Nynaeve. Moraine needs to deal with her midlife, mid-mission crisis. Christopher, you've got to give us more context. I mean, I know what you're saying, but just help us out. Help us out. Help us out. All right.
So, see, Christopher, you're also not as big of a fan of Moraine as well. I'm not that big of a fan of her either.
Ever since her and her sister got into it, I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling you, because you weren't there for your family, and it just seemed like a lot of stuff going on. So I don't know. Ever since then, I kind of felt some kind of way. I think that was season 2.
It was season 2. It was season 2. All right. So back in the Two Rivers, Perrin proclaims he will turn himself in, but his town people refuse. They will fight for Perrin. Alana meets with Maxim, and he asks her to cut off the bond because he can feel her lack of feelings. He wants to fight Leandrin for killing him. He wants to know why they are in the Two Rivers. Question: why are Alana and Maxim in the Two Rivers? Does anybody know?
I kind of feel it has something to do with an assignment from the tower, to kind of keep an eye and or to aid in whatever the group needs to get done.
Yeah, wasn't it a group thing?
Well, it was, but they're all starting to go on their own little separate little groups.
Yeah, I got confused. They got to that town in episode 2, right? And then they split up from there. Matt and the 2 girls went to the tower, and Min was there, and then everybody else was like, oh, because the war coming. The war is coming, right? And that's why they had to go to the 2 towers. Wasn't it a war?
Okay, now I'm drawing a blank.
I might be wrong. I might be mixing seasons up. But I thought something bad was coming to 2 Rivers, and that's why they had to go.
You talking about the
So in the books did a really good job of explaining what was happening. So in the books, they actually found out. They knew. So Matt knew, Rand knew, Perrin knew that a whole lot of stuff was happening in and around the Two Rivers. They all knew, and it was a decision to let Perrin go back. It was a decision. What we're seeing in the show is not necessarily what's in the book, because Matt was always with Rand, and so even in the series, Matt kind of like he stayed at the tower, but Rand went off. That's not what happened. That is not what happened in the book. So there was actually an interesting part about Matt when he went to Rudion, but I don't know what the show is going to do about that. But anyway, I don't know if I'm answering your question. I just got excited for a second.
You did.
Okay. All right. All right. I do want to stop here and say that in the storyline of Perrin is talking to a woman, right? He's talking to a woman. She keeps looking at him. She's
the little elf-looking woman.
Yeah. She's gonna be very important to his storyline. And so Christopher did respond maybe a couple minutes ago, but here is it. I think she's looking for Rand. Are you referring to Moraine? Cara Sedai said that she loves Perrin.
Yeah, he's sexy.
So Perrin actually had like a major part in the books. He had like the previous book that I read and the one that I'm on right now, major part.
Bye-bye.
So
he's talking about Alana. Okay, all right.
Of the group of the characters that we've met so far, the main group of 5 or 6, however many it is, who's everyone's favorite? And we get back to the story, but who's everyone's favorite so far? Or is there some standouts? Do you like more than others? Or is there anyone's story that you're not that interested in?
Okay, I got couples. I want Lan and Night. How you say her name?
Nynaeve.
Yeah. I'm ready for them to get together. And then I want Rand and Lanfear to get together. Egwene just got to be by herself. And then I want, what's her name? what's her name? La something. The one
Lalandria,
that
not Lalandria.
how do you say it?
Lalandria, not the red
Lalandria.
Aja.
The red Aja. I want her to
Okay,
find somebody.
Leandrin?
Lalandria.
Leandrin.
Yeah.
I want her to be with somebody, and I want it to be a
say,
girl, and I
say
wanted her to match
Leanne. Say Leanne and Dren.
Leanne
Dren.
Dren.
Leanne.
Leandrin. Leandrin. I want her to be with somebody.
We fucking these names up.
So Min attempts to make up with Matt and tells him she knows about the flood of memories he keeps having. She sees a vision of him hanging and gets freaked out by it until Elaine's brother misreads the situation, coming to her defense. So you weren't on the last episode, Brittany. So do you remember Elaine's two brothers? They were sword fighting. Do you remember them? What were your impressions of them?
Dumb and Dumber.
What do you mean?
Just something about them. They're just like afterthoughts. But I remember them. But they didn't seem very important to me. They just seemed pretty and dumb.
And we butchering the names. We butchering the names. We are doing it. We have been doing this since we've been talking about the show.
All right, I'm looking at the time, and what I'm going to do is instead of reading what happened, I'm just going to ask the questions. Is Elida simply hungry for power, or does she have a plan?
Wait, say it again.
Is Elida simply hungry for power, or does she have a plan?
I think she has a plan. I think that she has a plan. And then, Karis, back to your statement about the two brothers. I do think that Galad was cocky, but in my heart of hearts, I wish Matt would have had a threesome with the two brothers.
Oh, I didn't answer that question. Actually, my favorite character is Matt.
Really?
My favorite character is Matt. And that's why I like him.
Yeah.
That's why I like him.
He annoys me. But I get it.
Who's a cyclone?
Oh no.
Who's a cyclone?
Oh, I wonder if he's talking about Elida. I don't know. Maybe. We deserve that threesome, says Christopher. Okay, Christopher.
We do.
Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We do.
Matt will grow on you. I wonder in what kind of way.
So listen, right? So listen, you go back and listen to my thoughts on. Yeah, I can see that. Right now I'm on a Rand trip though, because looking at Rand from season 1 and season 2 now to where we are now, I'm like, I get it. Mm-hmm.
It's the Tyler Perry beard for me in this picture. Do you see Rand with the Tyler Perry beard on?
You talk about in episode 4 when he's showing up all the past lives. A mess. So I like the first one. Actually, I like the first one, and the one that looks like he's a twink. The second to last one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where he's in the tower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those two are the ones that I like the most.
Okay, I see your type. All right, so Matt is practicing when Elaine's brothers show up, basically mocking him. Nynaeve tells him they are leaving, but her brothers make an issue out of it. Her brothers meaning Elaine, until Matt makes a fool of them. All right, so that was that was when Matt was basically using his stick and he basically beat them. What are we to understand about Matt in that particular scene?
He acting like a you remember how in those old kung fu movies?
I knew you was about to say that. Drunk kung fu master. That's when he got to have a drink to really be able to fight. Stop yourself. Stop yourself. So,
I was thinking about.
You're right though. You're right though. For me, it was more so that there's way more in Matt that and more potential, and I think that once he gets to harness that, that he's gonna be the one of the ones that's really gonna help Rand out, which I think is supposed to happen according to what Jermaine has been saying about the way the books go. So maybe eventually we'll get to that point where he's like his right hand man, but right now he's just kind of trying to find himself.
Mm-hmm. All of them play an important role. All right, so let's move. So we're going to move to episode 4, The Road to the Spear. As I said before, I'm just going to start asking the questions because of the amount of time that we've been on. Let's get into the head of Rand and also recap who this particular character is. Also, what is his trauma? What is his reality? So we're talking about Rand up until now. I'm not talking about what we've seen in episode 4. At this particular point in time, who is Rand? What traumas is he dealing with?
I think there's a lot of expectation, and he has no clue who he really is. Like, he doesn't know his background information. He just knows the life that he lived in the Two Rivers and the trauma that he's gone through since he's become the dragon, or realized that he is the dragon reborn. And so that's a lot. You have basically a legacy that you don't know anything about, and you have to fulfill this prophecy that is who you are, but you don't know about it. You don't know the background about it. That's confusing and stressful.
I also think it's like the balancing act that he has to play, right? Like I'm thinking about the scene where when he was talking to Moraine, he's sitting there and she's just looking at him being frustrated because he's not, I think it was a scene when he was training with Lan. Yeah. And where he kind of basically shows her, I do have control of my power. I can use my powers to an extent, but explaining to her why he's hesitant is because every time he uses it, it's like he feels like he's losing himself or loses a piece of himself in it, and he doesn't want that madness to overtake him. And I think that that's a big part of his fear. And then also he doesn't feel like, I think it's a little bit of how did I get here? I'm a quote unquote simple man. Right. And now I have the weight of the world on my shoulders and I'm supposed to be the dragon. I'm supposed to do all these things. Oh, yeah. By the way, me fulfilling my destiny is probably going to make me go crazy.
And even more than that. All right. So let's think about it. So he finds out that his father isn't his real father. The mother that he thought he had wasn't his real mother. All right. So he finds out that he's to take what Corey just said, he has this whole past legacy. He finds out that he's an Aiel. He's of the blood of the Aiel. Someone or a group of people that everybody in their land feared.
Mm-hmm.
He's an Aiel. There's something else that you all don't even know about Rand, and I'm going to spill it. Rand is of royal blood and actually related to Moraine. He don't know that yet. He don't know that yet. He's related to Moraine. All right. There's all kinds of stuff about
kissing Rand. Cousins.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, so here's the thing. So you got the king who they killed, right? So who was supposed to take his place? It was supposed to be Rand's mother, but guess what? Rand's mother left because I don't remember when I read it. I don't remember if she got a vision or if someone else had a vision. She believed it, and so she went to the Aiel Waste because she was told that if she didn't do it, the world would break and it would break forever. So she trusted and believed in that so much. So she went to the. It's so much about Rand. All right, so let's go to Christopher real quick. Christopher says, Moraine thinks he's just going to march to Shaiol Ghul and take down the Dark One. She treats him like a sheep meant for slaughter. Ooh,
right,
ooh,
right. That's one of the reasons why I have issues with her is that she just and the White Tower as a whole, they just view him as to use your words, that sheep that's going to take down the Dark One, with no other thought or concern for anything else that's going on,
and then lock him up.
And then, right, because ultimately afterwards, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna cage him or kill him.
Moraine is his aunt by marriage.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Now let's get into Moraine's mind, and we kind of just did. What are her current motivations? We kind of just talked about that, really. So let's move real
Mhm.
quick. We also learned that Moraine is more central to the story than we already knew, through visions and all kinds of stuff. Because remember, when the wise ones were talking, they kept
Mhm.
telling her, if you didn't show up, Moraine, you would
You
die.
would die.
Also, if Lan didn't show up with you,
You would die.
Moraine, Lan would die, right?
Mhm.
And so they're connected. They are
Right.
connected. All right. So
Right.
we learned that Moraine is more central to the story than we already knew. What is Moraine thinking now? Now that she knows she is more central than she thought she was. What is Moraine thinking?
Eyebrows in her hairline, stressed.
She's just thinking, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Pause on that, because one thing that I have to say is that I just gotta bring up how many times Lanfear handed Moraine's ass to her over and over and over and over and over and over again on that wheel. I mean, she been handing her ass.
For centuries.
Well, remember, that wasn't her past lives.
That's her future.
Exactly. That's her
Okay, that's our futures. Okay, yeah.
future possibilities.
Future possibilities.
Possibilities.
And
Every
over.
time she
And
tries to
over.
fight Lanfear beat that ass.
Over and over. Even if she was a queen, Lanfear, tearing that ass up.
In the
All right.
White Tower, tearing
Yeah.
that ass up.
Yeah.
In the desert.
Tearing that
Tearing
ass
that ass up. In the streets.
And that ass. So it's obviously her character probably is going to die towards the end of it, or close to the end, or something like
by
that.
the hand of Lanfear.
By the hand of Lanfear. So she right
I
next to
ain't
trouble.
saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing. All right.
She
So
right
why is Avienda so hot and cold towards Rand?
Which one's that?
Avienda is the one with the locks. The IU with the
Oh,
locks.
I like her. Because I think she like him. And she don't know how to say it.
I think
And
she
she
does
don't
too.
want him to be the what is the name of their
Cocaran, or
chief?
whatever they calling it. Cocaran, or whatever.
She don't want him to be the chief. And she's mad about it. But
Check
she
this
like
out.
him low key.
Check this out. You see this? Did you notice
Do
she
you
was
know that
killed
she
by
was killed?
Lanfear after Moraine slept with Rand? Moraine was like, "No, bitch, he is mine. The boy is mine."
It's Brandy and Monica all over again.
It is over and over and over. But so it's craziness. It's craziness. It is absolute craziness. But also, what I did like in this episode too is where the wise one. It might have been the last episode where the wise one were basically telling Egwene, your paths diverge. So basically,
That's
give it
not
up.
your man, boom. She said it with a straight face. Egwene was like, oh. She grabbed her imaginary pearls, like, wait a minute, what? That's my man. I'm going wherever he goes. And they was like, no, boo.
Her whole story up to this point
was all about Rand and her.
But I need y'all to know, in the books, she had decided a long time ago that she didn't want to be with Rand. In the books,
okay,
books ago, she decided she didn't want to be with Rand.
So that's a major departure.
There are so many. There are so many.
I've heard that online. A lot of people have some issues with the fact that it's different than the books in some aspects.
Yes,
literally.
In front of the whole village people that was there. Everybody in the tent. She had no shame.
So Christopher says that the rings are turning the wheel. The columns are threads in the pattern. All right. So the wise ones tell Avienda that she is no longer a maiden of the sphere, and she must put down her weapons to be a wise one. All right. Did any of y'all see that coming? The fact that she would become a wise one?
I didn't
know she had powers.
And and that's what I was about to say. Because remember, there's a difference between someone who can dream and someone who has powers. Avienda, at least according to the books, can do both. Okay.
Yeah, she's really significant. So she's going to have a major role to play in the future of the story.
More significant than I'm telling you.
Yeah,
More
I can
significant than I'm
imagine.
telling you.
I can imagine. Hopefully, I'll begin to like her character a little bit more by the time we get to that point.
You don't like a character either, Corey?
I'm indifferent.
I'm indifferent. Right. I'm indifferent.
I love a character. Let me tell you something. I love a strong woman. I love a strong female character. Love it.
I
I
need
do
more.
too, but I just don't like her.
I like her hair. I like her
Yeah, I
outfit.
like her hair.
I love it
Yeah.
when she takes the mask, the YN mask, the bakla.
This
I
is
love
for you,
that.
Brittany.
Rand and Gwen screwing is a departure.
Mm.
I can imagine because it doesn't feel like it. It didn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it fit. Like, and it's also almost seems like it's an afterthought. They should have ended it like in season 1.
When he
and
didn't
then
save
it just
her,
kind of continued on.
and she saved herself, I thought that was the end of their relationship.
Right.
So there's a point when one of the wise ones tell Avienda she can no longer run from what she must be. Mm-hmm. Rand and Moraine locked eyes. Did y'all see that moment?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it happened, and it was in the books. That was a moment when Rand said, "Okay, I'm fully invested. I'm fully invested in who I'm meant to be."
Do we think that he's there now, though? I think by now, I think he's close to becoming there if he's not there already. I don't know if that's the case, but I feel that this last episode really kind of pushed him towards, okay, she is annoying. Thank you. Okay.
Last part. Give her blocks.
She annoys me.
All right, so Rand tells Moraine he must go to Rudian. She wants to help him, but Rand says she has never tried to help him. She says, that's all I've ever tried to do. So in that moment, I was
mad.
What were your thoughts? I don't know if we're on the same page.
Just like a broke nigga. You gonna sit here and feed him, take him places in your car, help him find a job, help him with his homework, and he gonna fucking sit here and say you don't do shit for me? Just like a broke nigga. I was mad.
Hawaiian.
Just like
Hawaiian. My God. All he needed was a ski mask.
That's it. Talking about you don't do nothing for me. You don't get the fuck out of my face. I was triggered.
I didn't like that either. I didn't like that either. Corey, did you have any thoughts?
That's enough. That's all we got to say on that.
All right. So the wise ones tell Rand that he's of the past and she's of the future, meaning when they go in, he's going to see the past, she's going to see the future. When I heard that,
I'm glad the wise ones told them that. I really am. That would
have been kind of confusing because I kind of missed that part of them saying that, but now that you say it, I do recall that.
Because if they didn't say that, I wouldn't understand what was going on.
So when I heard that, I thought how poetic that was. It also had me thinking about their two characters. In past seasons, even in this episode up to this point, both have had their minds on two different things. Mm-hmm. So what I mean by that is Rand was focused on the past, Moraine was focused on the future. And what I mean specifically about Moraine is she's always thinking about who Rand is going to be, who he's going to become, who he must be. I will say the books do a much better job of explaining Moraine's character because what Moraine really wants from Rand is she wants him to build the power that he must have. That's what she wants. That's because she knows there's no way that he can defeat the Forsaken unless he does that.
He starts to do that. Yeah, and I kind of get that by now, but up until this point, you're right. They have not done the best job of really explaining her motivations. It makes it seem like the motivations is basically between she and Suan are trying to just kind of push this quote unquote agenda, but ultimately, which is true. But here's the reason why they don't.
Yeah.
According to the book, Moraine and Rand haven't even. I already told y'all about that. All right, so we go through the seven, and I said the 7 ages of Rand. Also, his past lives. None of that is really Rand's past lives. Those are not Rand's past lives, right? They're not. Right.
That's his ancestors, right? That's
exactly
other incarnation.
Right.
Yeah.
Do y'all want to talk about any of them in any particular order whatsoever? Because that basically rounds us out.
I mean, we could talk about them as a whole, really, because ultimately, it's all about. I was honestly that part of that episode. I kind of was like, whatever.
But it was so important. It was so important.
I mean, yeah, I got it, but I was just kind of like, okay.
Okay, so so for anything, people who have read the books, it's like these are the parts that the author has been explaining all throughout, that in the show they never explain. Like no one ever knows, and it's like, how can it, like, there's so much so much that for instance I need to tell you, but it's like which ones are most important in this particular moment. So what they did was they just showed it all. They showed it all, right. And it was like, thank you.
Can you explain the sky breaking and the ball falling?
All right.
And him harvesting wheat.
All right. So first, what we realize is that it wasn't just quote unquote Luz Theron who broke the world. It was also Lanfear that helped to break the world. Okay. And that was just lost in time. That it was just lost in time. So remember, it takes two to bring it together. It took two to break it apart.
Right.
Lanfear was the other half that broke it apart.
Right.
Okay. Right. So Lanfear has been central all throughout. People just forgot. Because something else that was probably sort of mentioned in season 1, their history had been burned. That was on purpose. They burned it on purpose because they didn't want people to know. The Forsaken didn't want people to know, all kinds of stuff. All right. So,
right.
So that was that. In terms of that, also, did you notice they kept talking about the song?
But what is the song?
We heard the song.
Oh, when the people sang it in the leaf, the leaf tribe.
Yeah.
That's important. That's something that's important. So Christopher says, I'm trying to get to it. All right. So Christopher says, when you read the books, you have no idea you're going backwards. And this fantasy story suddenly turns into a post-apocalyptic science fiction story. I will say,
that point right there, that when you saying that really connected the towards the end, when you see that incarnation, and I can't remember his name, of Rand, the Twinkie looking one. It's more the society is more futuristic. Stop it. This society is more futuristic than where they are now currently. And so with you saying that does kind of give you a hint to where we are actually, that particular piece of what you're saying. So that makes sense.
Right. It does.
I had no idea of that until that was just said, honestly.
That makes sense.
So the story in and of itself is kind of like a big circle, so to speak.
Yeah, and that it's
so everything that's happened is continuous, basically.
Yeah,
hence their return to the wheel, and it goes over and over and over and again, and it changes each time. There's a cycle around the wheel,
and it's really all about getting all of the puzzle pieces in place so that it can happen. And this is really their last time. This is the last attempt.
Because if not, it's over with, and the Dark Friends win. or it
Does
breaks.
anybody win or does the world end?
I think the dark wins.
I think, and it's somebody, somebody, please correct me. My understanding is not, and when I say my understanding, it's not that I've read it. I'm reading into what I've read. I think it all ends.
Hmm.
I think it all ends.
Excuse me.
I'm reading into it. I'm not saying that I'm correct. I'm not saying that I'm correct at all.
So here's the other thing, though. The point that the one of my main points, if there's anything that I don't like, is not really understanding the motivation of the Dark Ones. Really, like they want to control the world, but to what end? If what they want to happen happens, then according to what we just said, then oh, okay, a dark reality. But so I feel like the show doesn't do a good enough job in explaining
What that
why
means?
a dark reality would be bad, and or where that fits in the grand scheme of things.
So, all right. So in Western society, and you got to realize that this is for Western society, right?
Yeah.
The television show is for Western society, our civilization, I should say. We have been, I don't know, raised is not the right word, but
Condition.
we've been conditioned to believe that technology is good, technology is better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so by breaking the world, they went into this Neolithic age, if you will.
Right. Where they
They just
don't have
regress.
technology. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing, and I think that's the point. You don't realize that actually the breaking of the world. We didn't realize that until this episode 4, that the breaking of the world was what set them back in time, and that humans or humanity or society or whatever has lost the understanding that this has even happened.
So we get a glimpse of it. I don't remember if it was the season finale of season 1 or the season premiere of season 2. But we see Lou Staring talking to old girl who gives the twink the seed or the sangreal. We saw that futuristic society because we saw things flying in the air. We saw I want to say automobiles, but I don't know what it was. We saw planes flying in the air. So we got a glimpse that society was more advanced than the reality. Yeah.
Right. And you really see it in this episode. And until we get to this point, I think I might have missed it. I might not just.
Yeah,
I might have missed that.
Mm-hmm.
That just made that right there opens up this story so much more. So much more.
Yep. Even in Rudion, like that was my because remember Moraine said this doesn't look like Aiel.
She did say that
or whatever. Because it wasn't. It was Aes Sedai.
She did say that.
Yeah, I love this. I love it. Like I love it. Brittany.
So at this point, let me ask this question, and maybe it's enough to close us out. Like, what are some things that we think the story needs to really tell us in order for us to really grasp? That's a good point. To really grasp the story, I guess I'm trying to say, right? I think up until this point, the majority of us were just kind of, we didn't realize that there was this whole other side of the story that we just now are really starting to catch on to.
That's right.
Is that by design? I'm sure it is, but have they done a good enough job in bringing us along?
I think so.
I do too, but are there some things that we wish we would like to see in the future? I guess is what I'm saying. In the future,
I want more of a backstory on the well, we did get the backstory of the, how you say it, Aiel?
The Aiel.
Aiel, we got a backstory. But the lady with the crown, I wanted to go a little bit more in depth into like who she is in the desert. The Aiel lady that had the crown, and
Oh yeah,
she's with her
I did.
husband's son now.
Mm-hmm.
I want a backstory on them because I think that could be really interesting and
So my question with
understanding.
her is that, to piggyback that, Britt, is she in a space that's suspended in time, and is she actually from the old future? And this is just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Is she from the old future, or because she even dresses?
Very post-apocalyptic.
Yes, yes, her jewelry, the way she looks. I mean, just
The
everything about
headdress.
it. Right, right.
It
The
was
thing
very like, wait a minute, you are not in a desert, sis.
you're not.
So the book does a really good job of explaining what what happens. So the Aiel, they, for all intents and purposes, they live in the desert, but they do trade with people who live on the other side, right? So people come in, they trade, they leave, they come and they go, and then also the Aiel go to other places and they trade as well. So you got all of that going on, and I need you to understand that their culture, their society is all based on water. They don't have a whole lot of water in the desert, right? And
Mhm.
so the things that they have, it's very, very limited.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
What book are we on now? Are we in the third book, or is it or have they come melded the story so much that it's a? So I read that we are getting potentially, they wrote up to, they anticipate this show to last about 8 seasons,
Oh,
give or take.
thank God.
They anticipate it
This
to last
like
about
Game
eight
of
seasons.
Thrones. I love it.
Savannah being extra. She just extra like that.
I love it. I want that.
Books 3 and 4. Okay.
So it's like a blending of different books because, for instance, Galad and his brother go whatever, they were actually mentioned in book one. They were mentioned in book one. Like, we were
Mhm.
introduced to their characters in book one. So it's kind of like they're weaving a different story. And I did see something online where they basically said this. They said that the television show is just like another turning of the wheel. So they're not
It's not the
100%
book story.
consistent with the book. But some major things will be consistent.
Okay.
That's cool that they're even in the lore of the story, they're introducing the TV show to into the lore by saying that, hey, this is, you know, this is the story, but it's another turning, right? It's not going to be
Yeah.
exactly the same. That's kind of cool. That's kind
I
of cool.
like it.
I'm gonna have to start reading the books.
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
will.
Brittany, parting words.
Y'all, Leandra is that bitch. I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode in her outfits. I'm so excited. I'm so ready for this. And what's his name? The guy that looks like a wolf? Perrin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Perrin is future baby daddy.
It's the game. It's his eyes and how they upped the game with his eyes and gave him a little
And
more
he
color.
lost a lot of weight, y'all.
And he did
He
lose some
did.
weight.
He did.
He
Especially in
buffed up.
episode one, he was really, really slender, and his hair got longer. And I was like, ooh, ooh.
Hmm.
I
With
said, who
episode one,
that?
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Rand also kind of grew up a lot from the first story into
Yeah.
after when we saw. I was
He
like,
got a
oh,
little buff. And
yeah.
I
So
like them tattoos.
the dragon tattoos, whatever.
Come on, Christopher. We could
Yeah.
be a throuple. It's fine.
Are there, okay, so besides meeting the dark ones, I think that's my final thoughts would be, I'm really interested to see, because obviously I read that they're only going to have 8 dark ones, right? I think there's in the books there's like 13, but we're only
Oh,
going to
13
wow.
in the books.
we're only going to see 8. So obviously each season they're going to fight and kill one, presumably, or they're going to fight one. So I'm interested to see who we're introduced to next, or how we're going to be introduced to the villain, quote unquote. Christopher.
Yeah, that's always interesting. And who's gonna die first? Is it gonna be Samael or is it gonna be Gabriel? My money is on Gabriel, but I don't know.
I think it's
think
gonna be
Gabriel is
Gabriel because he's the one that we've seen the most of, and we're kind of getting connected to. We haven't seen the
And
other
that's
one.
what
like
Game of
talking
Thrones
about.
did too.
It
Soon
might
as
be
you fell in
Mogadine
love
though.
with him, they took him away.
It could be because they teased her at the end of last season.
Yeah, it might be Mogadine. You never know. You never know. Mhm.
She creeps me out, so I would be fine with her.
She is creepy. They're not gonna let her go yet. Not yet. She's the one that makes the gray men. They're not gonna let her go yet.
You never know.
I do think that we're gonna lose somebody.
Of course.
Mhm.
Of course.
Like
course.
one of the heroes is gonna die.
Yeah.
They have to.
Who you thinking? Who you thinking?
I think it's. Go ahead. You go.
I don't know. It's not going to be any. It's not going to be Perrin. Obviously, it's not going to be Rand. It's not going to be Moraine. It's not going to be Nynaeve. But it could be
Egwene.
Egwene. That's probably who it's going to be.
Or the daughter to
the daughter to the queen, and that's going to propel the story because that's going to cause some bullshit.
Yeah.
That's probably who it's going to be.
Either of them two. The weakest links.
And then
Hold up now. So this is where this is what I'm gonna say. All right. So yes, Nynaeve is the most powerful, but I need y'all to understand that in time, Egwene is going to become very powerful in her own right, and so will Elaine. They're all going to be very powerful Aes Sedai.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe they're not done right now.
Yet. I believe that.
Perrin's not gonna die right now. Right? He's just not getting his story off the ground. So
keep watching. Y'all, thank y'all so very much for joining. In the comments, thank you all so very much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share. Share with all your friends, y'all. Until next time. See you.